You are listening to the B2B Marketing Mindset with Pete Monfre and Bill Lowell. We want to help demystify marketing to reduce risk, drive more and better opportunities, and grow your business. Are you ready to master marketing?
All right, let's get into the B2B Marketing Mindset, shall we? I'm Pete Monfre. This is episode 101. How about that? Now, if you were listening live on episode 100, everyone listening live would have won $1 million, but you've missed the opportunity. So, just missed it by one. Hey, listen, today we've got a guest, one of my favorite people. He's a master videographer and director. He's a storyteller. He's a creative force. He owns Austin's highest rated video production company, and he specializes in helping clients turn viewers into clients, which is pretty cool. But first things first, let me introduce my intrepid co-host, Mr. Bill Lowell. He's a man who's larger than life, and he's always dressed to the nines. Look at it. Look at how good it is. I had to upgrade my look. But he is beaming all the way from Eagle, Wisconsin, founder of Business Development Directives marketing research firm. We highly recommend them. Welcome, Mr. Bill. I've been calling you Mr. Bill for 30 years now.
Yeah, I think the younger viewers probably have no clue where that came from, but I think the older ones certainly get it. So it's good to be with you, and I'm excited about the program today too. I think it should be really great, and seeing some of Mark's work is just fabulous. So I think it's going to be an enjoyable podcast. So don't go anywhere.
Don't leave us. And all the good stuff's at the end.
You could get a car. You
That's
could get
right.
a car. Pete could get really generous today and give all the viewers a car. So
giving away things at the end of the episode. That's right.
Hot Wheels. Yeah.
But anyway, welcome, Mark. Mark Wonderlin. Company's Mosaic Media, mosaicmediafilm.com. Is it films or film?
It's films, actually.
Films with an S.com. That's right. And so let's get your name up on the screen there. And so I thought we'd just start off by telling us a little bit about, what you do and what your passion is, and tell us a little bit about you, and we'll get into some video wisdom.
Yeah, for sure. So I own a video production company. I started off being like a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, kind of being the person that wears all the hats. So for quite a long time in my career, I was kind of the one-man band where, I did the planning, the filming, the sales, the marketing, the editing, the revisions, and everything in between. And it was incredible. I mean, I look back at that time in my life, and it was awesome. I've got to go to some incredible places. I did a documentary overseas in Southeast Asia, and I got to go to 6 countries there. I've been on Richard Branson's island, and a lot of other places, Costa Rica, his resort in Africa. And I've worked with tons of really cool businesses through that time period. But now I've kind of shifted over the last, several years, and I've really built a creative team that really embody the style and approach that, I take to video, which is really connecting with the viewer that in turn helps the person that's trying to find the problem, a solution to their problem, and ultimately increasing conversion for our clients. So I'll often say, whenever we create a project, we want to kind of fall in love with our customer's customer. So really understanding who that viewer is, how can we connect with them, tell a compelling story, we're engaging, educating, and ultimately converting them to take the next step to work with,
Awesome.
Who's commissioning us for the project. So now I have an amazing creative team. I don't really do a lot of the filming or the editing anymore, but I still kind of have my imprint on a lot of things. When I initially kind of scoped the project, I kind of cast a general creative direction on where to go, and my team does an amazing job kind of executing that. So it's pretty awesome.
Do you still direct?
Yeah, I don't direct per se. I will go on a shoot, and I usually will go on a shoot for a little bit just to check on things. Sometimes I'll bring a little bit of fire or energy. But I don't really try to get in the way a lot. Because my producer, she's had a decade of experience in documentary filmmaking. So she really kind of produces and directs a lot and then gives the team that's on set, whether it's a PA or my cinematographers, gives them the direction and stuff of that nature. So yeah.
Well, we were just hanging out a couple nights ago, and I told you
Yeah.
that he didn't know this, but he really showed me how to create a certain positive, really really great vibe on set when we were working with Mark on a project, and I was just observing, but I'm a director, and I was like, man, I learned a lot from this guy, so it was really exciting to kind of have you on. But we'll show some of your work here in a bit, but let's why don't we go ahead and we'll jump right into the topic, because we're talking about how to best leverage video in your business. And I think this is not very well understood, and that's why I think it was a good topic that we can cover, and hopefully people will get something out of it. But the title of the episode is the 3 must-have videos to supercharge your sales funnel. And so I think that's pretty relevant. So let's get into talking point number 1. There are 3 videos that every business needs. Is that a video of you like on Zoom with your unmade bed in the background and dirty clothes on it? Is that one of them?
No, that's
I
not on
didn't
the
think
list.
so.
They'll never be on the list. Never, don't ever do that. So the 3 main videos that you really need for any type of business, a lot of it depends on your marketing strategy and if you're a B2B or B2C. But fundamentally, the 3 videos is some type of traffic-based ad, which is usually like a social ad or series of social ads. Your promo video, which is sometimes about the business, sometimes it's about the service, sometimes it's about the product, right? So that promo video is number 2. And the third one is kind of your customer testimonial, which provides some type of social proof, right? So, and that's kind of the order in which they appear on the funnel. So that first one, that social video, is typically a series of ads that you're testing different marketing angles. So you're testing maybe an angle on a testimonial, you're testing an angle on an offer, you're testing, an angle on a feature or a benefit or a FOMO, and you're trying to see what connects with the audience. Typically, what you do is you would test images and text first on a subset of impressions based on click-through rate. Then you convert that to video. Once you've
Okay.
done that, then the goal, of course, is to get that click to get them to come to that landing page, product page, or home page. And that's where you have that kind of business promo, or if you're selling a product, it's a product promo, or if you're trying to promote a particular service that you have, it's that service promo. It's that video that explains kind of who you are, what you do, what makes you uniquely different, but framing it in a way where the customer is seeing what their life is going to look like when they buy that product, purchase that service, or engage with the business. And then on that same page, you'd have some form of social proof. And that ideally is best in the form of video. Video testimonials are like so much more powerful than written because you can see, the expression on people's face, how they feel. Sometimes people get really emotional and you just can't fake it. Like I just typed, Mary said that we were fantastic and da 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 da. It's like you can't
Yeah.
fake that. So video testimonials really powerful, and that can be used kind of in the middle, or it can also be used as a retargeting tool and a sales enablement tool, depending on the dynamic of your business. So 3 top videos: social, promo, and testimonial.
Let me ask a question about the social video, like in a B2B context. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but would that be more around pain points as opposed to features and benefits?
Yeah,
Or is that
absolutely. And
just
that's
one
certainly,
option?
yeah, absolutely. A lot of it can be, that's another angle that you can test. So you're trying to test things both on the text and image side first, unless you've had some kind of like, one-to-one conversations and you're identifying who that, avatar is. So it's like attention, 6-figure entrepreneurs, attention
Ah,
coaches, things like that. Like whatever that kind of dog whistle is, you're kind of putting that either on the video or on the image ad, and you're trying to attract that type of person. And then you're articulating what is the problem or pain that they have right now and how you can solve it. Right. And that's a lot of how our structure is. It's identifying how they're feeling. So that's why when I said, we have to understand our customer's customer, we try to walk in the shoes of like, what would it feel like if, this happened, that you're struggling, you're not getting the leads that you want, or you're, down because you're exhausted because this is just sucking the life out of you because of this, or that. And that's where we're really trying to understand, articulate narratively, and then also kind of visually illustrate what's kind of going in their mind. Because the people that are watching the video, like all of us, right? We all have stories that we tell ourselves of like where we are and where we want to be. So the idea is that we position the business of the person that's going to help them in that story and guide them to where they want to be.
Hmm.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
have two questions. I'm sorry about that. So, like with regard to the promo one, is this something that is going to be like on every B2B's website? So when somebody goes to it, is that something that just automatically comes up, Mark, or is that something that somebody would click on to see, or how would that work? I'm just asking for our B2B listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a B2B company, ideally the place where you want to put your promo video, and we usually will do promo videos about the company or the brand, right? The who we are, what we do, what makes us different. The
Right?
great thing about this video is we've had clients that, the average life span of this video is usually 5 years because you're not changing your core values and your function of what you do. Um, but where you place that ideally is on the top of your homepage above the fold. So it can be like if you're kind of wireframing it out, it's either the videos like on the left or right, and then you have like a headline and then kind of supporting bullet points, like who you are, what you do, what they have to do next. And that video really distills everything that you do. So everything that they'd read on the homepage or they'd go to this page or this page, it kind of explains all of that, like who you are, what you do, what makes you uniquely different, what life is going to look like. And the challenge that we always have is trying to distill that information down to 2 minutes or less.
The other question is, you said on that third one for the customer testimonials, which I really like. I like that idea. But my question is, what happens if you have somebody that's dying to do a testimonial for you, but they're like terrible on camera, or they're just not good at speaking? I mean, do you coach them? Do you pick somebody else? What's your strategy for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do both on-site testimonials and remote testimonials. So in the remote situation, either or, if they're struggling on camera, we'll basically walk them through and kind of coach them. We don't want like it to be fake or phony. The whole point of a testimonial is we want it to be authentic. But we'll definitely kind of coach them, encourage them. That's the benefit of like having like a producer working with them on the right type of questions and it being more of a casual conversation rather than a structured, say this, say it this way. So we really try to make it very casual. So in the instance of, let's say, like a remote testimonial, it's a little less intimidating because there's not lights and cameras and crew. And it's just kind of like this. We're talking kind of remotely through like some software, and we send people a microphone, and it's basically a third of the cost. And we do the scheduling, interviewing, and editing for the clients. And most interviews last about 20 to 30 minutes. So, it's not like a, hey, tell me what your experience is like, boom. We're really looking for that story of transformation. Where were you? How did you discover the business? What were some things in your mind that kind of resisted you from purchasing? And what does your life look like now? What are some things that positively impacted you personally, professionally, and really trying to distill that story down again to like under 2 minutes, like ideally 90 seconds. And so we work with them extensively on like just being comfortable, understanding that like it's going to be a long interview, but like we're only going to take little pieces and just try to ease their mind through the process.
Yeah, I think people's familiarity with Zoom has really helped make it a lot
Mhm.
easier to get these testimonials, and you can have an interviewer and you can actually edit them out, or you can set it up so that the interview is actually never on the screen, and hopefully
Mhm.
they're not shooting it with a potato. But I love that you send a microphone out, which is so important. Good audio. You notice
Yeah.
we have these microphones, and it's not just for because we like to look cool. I don't think it looks cool, but there's a purpose for it, and I think that you can get away with a lot, but if your audio's terrible, people they don't listen. So, and this
Mhm.
podcast goes out live video. Obviously, we're big believers in video here, and we broadcast this to 5 platforms every Thursday, 11 o'clock, and then it goes out Friday through syndication, and that's audio only. So again, coming back to the importance of audio, and so. I just wanted to throw that in, but so we've been talking a little bit about, really every business can use some variation of those, but let's talk. There are people that, we're a B2B podcast, but we do marketing is marketing after all. So you had some tips for how video can be used in a B2C funnel, and then we're going to come back to also B2B, but let's talk a little bit about B2C,
Mhm.
and what are your insights there?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it depends on like what you're selling, right? So a B2C could be like a consumer product good, and then it could also be like a B2C, like a dentist or a lawyer, where they're a little bit higher ticket, a surgeon, right? So there's a little bit different dynamic, but fundamentally, it's a very similar process with those three types of videos. So let's take the consumer product example. Now, in that instance, I would recommend going with more user generated content than necessarily the type of stuff that we do, which is very scripted, polished, professionally produced. The lighting looks good, the shots look good, the story's great. So the only time I would use that video, I would test it, but ideally you want to do that more in the middle of the funnel. So we're working with a consumer product goods now that's in the fashion industry. So they really want to, the video content has to be consistent with their brand image. But we're recommending that on the front end of that top of the funnel for social is that you're testing both user generated content and then you're also testing kind of our flashy, stylized, videos that's highlighting a feature or a benefit or usage case of the product. And then when they click on that ad, they're kind of at that point, they're kind of in the brand. So that's where you want to have a more polished product video that showcases, the lifestyle of using it and how it's going to benefit them. And they're visualizing ideally what their life is going to look like when they're using the product. And those are better to have a little bit more stylized, more so than the front end social media stuff. And that's in the past has been really, really powerful to kind of elevate the brand, but then also kind of showcase what the product does. Specifically for consumer product goods, what I've seen a lot of companies, predominantly on like Amazon, do is they don't do a very good job of actually promoting the product through video in an eloquent way. So what happens when people go on Amazon or they click that social ad and they go to the product page, they're kind of in a buying mode where they have a high intent, right? They have a high intent to purchase. So at that point, you've got their interest. You should have something that shows them in a way that, like, this is what it is. This is how it's going to help you. This is what your life is going to look like. So, like, when I go on Amazon just as a consumer, one of the biggest mistakes I see is they'll create like an instructional video. They'll put an instructional video on there, or
Hmm.
they'll put like a highlight video where it's spinning, it's rotating, it's this, it's this, it's this. And I'm just like, it looks great. It's a great video, but that should be at the top of the funnel as an ad and not here. Like here, I want to know what the product is about, why it's going to help me, why I should buy this, why is it different from other products? And that's really the way that you create like a product video that's on that landing page or that product detail page or Amazon listing when people drill down to potentially purchase it. That's really the way you want to approach it. And then the retargeting or the social proof comes in the form of, typically user generated testimonials.
Yeah. You know, and you said a mouthful there. There's a place for production value, and I think
Mhm.
that I think when podcasting first came about, you had Gary Vanderchuck, a very low
Mhm.
production value. The strength of the content is still
Yeah.
number one. You could still get away with a lower production value. We actually kind of believe in production value because it does differentiate us from all the other podcasts that are out there. And I think there's always a place for that production value. And you talked about the the cool video. You know, it's almost just eye candy, but it doesn't serve a strategic purpose.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, what people need to start understanding about not just video, but imagery also. It's got to be there for a reason and not just a decorative element, because otherwise, I mean, I guess there's a place for decorative elements to make a layout easier to read, but um, probably not worth the investment
Mhm.
if it's just decoration. I hate decoration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think everything has a purpose, and so and so too often I think we're asked to decorate, and it's not really that valuable. So, but I wanted to get into this next point about B2B using video. But what I'd like to do is I just want to show Mosaic Media Films and how you're using video, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And let's just see if I can pull it off without messing something up. Hang on just a second. We have many switches that need to be flipped. So here we go. And over here. Let's see if I can do that. But I did notice that it's got a combination of messaging and example. Hey, our
Nice.
audio disappeared on us when we went over to the
Oh, I thought that
website.
was
So
intentional. I thought it like
no,
went away like that was just part of the cut on action part, you
I
know?
It
was
was a little bit
talking.
of an echo there.
I was talking to myself all during the whole time. So
Yeah, I thought, well, you reminded me of somebody, but I wasn't going to say who. So,
well, I said let's try this. There's some technology involved, and we
Yeah.
tested it right before we came on the air, and it worked
yeah, we're
beautifully.
great.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, when we're live, it doesn't work. So,
I,
but
I think you got 90% of it though, Pete. I mean,
yeah.
watching it look pretty darn good.
Well, I was saying, you know, it combines examples of work. It combines his company's positioning. There's messaging involved. There's a paragraph right next to it. There's a great big call to action. Get started, right? So lots of good stuff. I think I can go. I think I can. I think I can share this and keep the audio going here. So I think it's just a great example, but you can go to mosaicmediafilms.com and see that for yourself. There's a ton of work on here, and it's just beautiful work. I mean, that's what I've always liked about you, is you're just very quality minded, and I'm just so tired of seeing just absolute garbage everywhere. It's become like everyone has a computer and everybody has a cell phone, so now everybody's a director and a
I,
designer and
I
a
was just going to
filmmaker.
say that, maybe Mark can speak to that for just 2 seconds, but like, what about, I mean, the people that think they can do it themselves, I, I don't know. I don't know if you got any comments in a subtle way, Mark, to,
The
to talk
Yeah,
about
polite,
I
that.
think there's I
he's
think
always
there's
polite.
always
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think there's always going to be an audience that wants to do it themselves. And I also think that it's a growing audience every day because equipment gets cheaper, software gets easier to use. But what we found the most ideal client for us is someone that's not really considering doing it themselves. They understand that they want a professional team to come in as an outsider to help tell their story and look at it objectively, understand their customer through a different lens that they may, be the curse of knowledge and not understand as well. And then also kind of guide them through the process so they end with a video that they're really proud of and something that really elevates their brand and can help increase the speed of trust. So that's really like who our ideal client is. It's less about the fancy gear and everything like that. It's more about, like you said, the content, but put it in a wrapper that positions the brand really in a more positive light. I'll often say like, when you go to a website, just kind of anecdotally, if you go there and you kind of search and you're searching for this company, or you're like, oh, I need some software for this, and let me find this and this and this. And you come to all these businesses and services, and you automatically go to a website and it looks very janky. Immediately, you're going to kind of want to leave, right? And it's
yep.
the same thing with the video. The video looks really poor. you kind of equate that to the service that you're going to get. If the website looks bad, you're going to equate that to the service. And I got a perfect example because I was at an event the other day and this guy was telling me about this company he's working with. And I said, can you send me their info? And he sent me their info and I was like really shocked. And I was like, wow, this website looks like it was designed by a 5-year-old. Like it does not look legit. I would not want to give these people my money. It just screams not credible and screams like bro marketing. And I'll definitely will not call them. And a lot of it's just because the aesthetics of it. So I think that happens both on the website side and can be the same on the video side. The only time I think DIY stuff, do it yourself stuff kind of really works on the video side is if that is your brand. If that is the person you are and you are the face of the company, then it can work really, really well. But if you're more of an established company, the types of videos that we create is more of the style that's going to be consistent with the brand image you want to have out there.
Well, and never overestimate someone's ability to understand aesthetics. I mean, and this is, I think, hard for clients. I would hate to be a client hiring a web developer, a videographer, a designer, because, you and I have a fairly developed sense of aesthetic. A lot of times clients don't really know what they're looking at. And so they end up with something that really is damaging them and they don't really know it. And so it isn't to be fancy for the sake of fancy. There's a lot of psychology involved here. And I think you hit it on the head. If they come to your website, it's disorganized, it's sloppy. It doesn't just have that professional look and feel. It says something about you and your business. And then what people generally do with websites in the B2B realm, they'll hear about your company somewhere, somehow, however way they do, but they're going to go check you out. They're going to spend under 2 minutes there, and they're really trying to figure out, do they do what I need? Are they credible? Who else do they work with? What do I do next? And they're gone, right? So, but the impression it makes is more subconscious. Is this a together company? And so maybe you're one of these people that, yeah, look, I don't know what good art is. It's not my thing. Look, when you get, let's say, a direct mail piece, and you get one from Joe's phone company, and you get one from AT&T, can you tell a difference, right? Which one looks like a real company, right? It's as simple as that. You got to kind of engage your subconscious. Order, precision, production value. The human mind sees that and says, these guys must be good, right? There's a perception issue there. And I think it's all about how you're perceived, and getting this stuff right in video or design or web development or copy. It all has to do with how you can enhance the perception of value. All right. That's a heavy topic. We'll cover it in a separate show, but I just wanted to throw that out. If you look like shit, people are going to think you're shit.
Yeah.
It's a family show, but sometimes we swear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Being on camera, I had to decide how much the on camera me swears compared to the actual me. And it's pretty close. Pretty close to the same. What you see is what you get. I swear a little more in real life, but so anyway, great points, and I'm rambling a little bit. Let's go to the next point. The next point is subscribe. So listen, if you're listening to this out in podcast land, maybe on Apple Podcasts, where we have our largest audience, but we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we are everywhere that fine podcasts are consumed. You might not realize that you're only getting half of the show. This is a video podcast, so if you go to b2bmarketingmindset.com, get the rest of the show. There's a lot more information. We try to fill out whatever we talk about, we try to write that in a short article. We're going to be rolling out courses, all kinds of great stuff there. And so we just wanted to let you know, and you can subscribe there as well, and you'll get extra stuff that you're not going to get subscribing on Spotify. Do both. How hard is that, right? A couple of clicks, you're done.
I mean, they wouldn't see Mark's great video if it was just the audio part. They might just hear it.
It's just going to go silent, and they're going to be like, "Are these guys doing it themselves? What?"
Yes, exactly.
What's the deal? So there's one video that every business needs, and should we put Bill on the spot and have him guess which one it is?
I got it.
You
You
got it?
want one of your competitor doing something unethical or illegal that you can use to run them out of town. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I like the idea. I'm not sure
Okay.
I'm not sure that's the answer, but what is the one
So
video that everybody
what's
should
the?
really have? Mark.
Are you asking me or
Uh,
are you asking
I'm
Mark?
asking
well,
Mark because he
I've
Okay,
actually has
never,
the answer.
because you asked me and I was like failed at that. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
we've never created a video to run anyone out of town.
Okay.
Um,
Yet
but who knows? That could maybe be a different video type.
First time
a
for
different
everything.
company, a
Really
different.
the
That's right,
number
different
one
niche.
video is I would say is your promo video.
Hmm.
And this video, like I was saying earlier, it could be a business promo. If you want to have something about your overarching company, it could be a product promo. So if you have a flagship product, or it could even be a service promo if you're highlighting a specific service. It could also be all three. But essentially, the promo video, ultimately, when you're speaking in the context of a business, it's really the who you are, what you do, what makes you uniquely different. So one of the first ones that I created for a company was the Austin Shoe Hospital. And Pete, you live in Austin, you've probably seen them all over the place.
I have.
They're just a small little cobbler, that does basically repairs for shoes and high-end purses and Louis and things like that. And when I first was getting started, they're like, we want a video that basically connects with people, really shows, our craftsmanship and our pride, because we want to expand our business kind of outside of Austin. We want people from all over the country to send us their stuff. We'll repair them and we're going to ship them back. But they have to be able to trust us with their, $1,000 pair of shoes or boots, whatever the case may be. So we created this video and it just was explosive for them. They got a 60% increase in call volume. It completely transformed their business. They've used that video for the past, 10 years.
Hmm.
It's been leveraged on television ads, on their website, through digital marketing. We went on to create 20 plus other videos for them for different services and stuff. And they still use that video today. And if you saw it, you probably would not believe that it was created that long ago. So this promo video has, when it's done right the first time, it can be incredibly powerful and it can also last a really, really long time. One of the co-owners said, people always tell us we've seen your videos and the conversation goes from there. So it really is a way to kind of engage in conversation, and they're both a B2C and a B2B because they collaborate with not only DSW as their primary repair company nationwide, they also have a massive network of dry cleaners that they work with, collaboration for shoe repair. So it's been really, really powerful for them, that type of video, that business promo.
I think I had a pair of boots resold there, but I can't remember. I think a pair of vintage boots. They came out like new. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is amazing, and they preserved the vintage parts and the
Mhm.
leather and all that, which is what I was mostly worried about. But very cool.
I was thinking that promo could also be something that I would think could be really powerful for either if a company has a sales force or has salespeople, or for even new employees for an orientation when somebody's coming as an onboarding system. What a great way to kind of introduce them to the company in a professional way as well.
Yeah, those are great, great sentiments. I totally agree. And we've seen it be used and leveraged that way as like a sales enablement tool
Hmm.
that B2B companies will use in their deck while they're presenting the company.
And see, I thought you were going to say testimonial video. So
Mhm.
this is probably a close second, but I guess I
Yes.
agree. And well, the difference I think is, well, why bother spending the money on the video and all the effort that it takes? You could just write that stuff down, put a nice picture up there, and you can still get your message across. I'm going to answer my own question if I can. Let's see if I'm right. You tell me if I'm wrong. I know Mark will tell me if I'm wrong. I know he will. Uh, Something about video that engages people psychologically on an entirely different level than static media. Um,
Mhm.
and the internet has really become a video distribution network at this point. And so we always hear about the growth of video, but there's still a tremendous way to go in terms of just mass business adoption of video. But you are seeing it. I mean, it's but I think I hope this episode has helped people understand that it's not just a vanity type of media. It's a very powerful kind of media. And so, and if you're not if you want to do it yourself, I mean, I have to encourage it. I mean, this is how I started, right? Producing our own video, and it was a steep ass learning curve, I have to admit. But in so many ways, I don't think this podcast would be possible if I didn't have the background already, right? And so it's not for everybody. And I see a lot of dead fish, dead eye, monotone video guy talking, and there's just, and it's like,
I am a
this is where
speech
somebody like
therapist.
Mark, huh?
Yeah, you were doing the monotone person as a speech therapist.
Yeah. Well, this is where Mark comes in, right? I mean, it's like he just can change the entire mode and mood of the on-camera person, even if if you're not an experienced on-camera person, and how many of us are, right? Um, I'm very comfortable just talking to a camera. That's, I'm a weirdo. But most people, it really helps to have somebody, and Mark or his producer or somebody, they can walk you through this. And of course, there's editing, which is a miracle. And so, but DIY, go ahead, do that, and then compare and see what you think works better. Let's go to the next point before we run out of time. So, different types of video. You're going to share with us the different types of video. Gosh, that's a big question, isn't it? Tell us about some of the different types of video.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of different types. We kind of distill it down into two to three primary categories. So like really the first category is kind of your marketing videos. And that's a lot that we kind of talked about, your brand story, your promo, your social media, your testimonials. It's really content that's designed to engage your audience and ultimately get some form of conversion in a sales funnel or in a sales enablement approach. The next kind of like video category is really on the educational side that we help with, where it's really like they're info marketers, so they're creating a course or a master class. So they're creating that type of content where they're educating viewers in more longer form modules. And then with that, we usually have a component of marketing, right? So we've created a really good course. Now we need some marketing components to help sell that course. And then the third category that we do is really event-based content. And that can be anything from we're filming a panel, a fireside chat, or a keynote, and then there'll be marketing videos for that. So like we're creating a highlight video of a speaker or the event to sell the event for future ticket sales for future events. So those are really the three main categories. And then within each category, there's different types. I do have a pretty good tool on my website that's called, if you go to mosaicmediafilms.com/resources, there's a quiz. It's like a four or five question quiz that just asks, are you a B2B, a B2C? How are you getting most of your business right now? Are you selling products or services? And once you fill that out, it pretty much spits out a PDF and a video of me explaining here's the different video types that you should be thinking about if you're a B2B company selling services and you market predominantly on pay-per-click, right? So like here's the videos you should be thinking about and the marketing strategy to employ those videos so you can get the most leverage out of them. So that's really the different video types.
That is awesome. What a great, is that the take the quiz?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, take the quiz. So go to mosaicmediafilms.com resources, and you'll see the video blueprint. Take the quiz. I'm going to take the quiz, and I have this sense that I think we need Mark on the team here. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that to myself. What a great topic. I'd like to go to our final thoughts. We're going to run a little piece of eye candy, like I'm violating my own rules. This is purely just for fun. So everybody stand by. We'll go to final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up with our final thoughts. All right, and we're back, and the audio didn't work. So again, it's It's a whole new day. Actually, we have upgraded software, so now we're seeing some of the upgrades today. So isn't this great? Episode 101. So let's start with Mark. Give us some thoughts on, just to wrap this up, and we'll go to Bill, and then I'll leave my final thoughts.
I guess one of my final thoughts when it comes to video, I would just challenge anyone that's listening, whether you're B2B or B2C, is just do a simple Google search as if you were a customer of your own, someone looking for your business. So if you're a roofer, if you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, if you're selling handbags, whatever the case is, just pretend you're a customer, do a Google search and look at the top 10 listings that show up. Chances are less than 10% of people will have video. So imagine if you have video and no one else does, it puts you at a huge point of differentiation and a huge, you're really in the pole position, in your industry because you're doing something different and you're really trying to elevate your brand, increase that speed of trust and ultimately conversion. So if you haven't thinking about video, do that as a quick test and you'll see what a huge advantage you can have by leveraging video for your business can be.
Awesome. Here, let me just pushing buttons madly here and all kinds of crazy things going on. So that's I hate to point it out, but it's just like on my screen, there's things flying around everywhere. I don't know what's even happening anymore. Bill, final thoughts.
I have a few. I think the first one is it looks like there's just so many different types of uses. So probably when you start, it probably leads to another video or something else that somebody can do. But I'm becoming much more intrigued with this. I remember when we first started talking about this, Pete, I have to say I didn't think it was going to be that good, but not your conversation, Mark, but just why would somebody need videos, But I guess I'm totally convinced. I think it's a great idea. My only question would be as a B2B person, and you don't have to answer this, Mark, but it's like, is this going to be something that's going to be exorbitant? Is this going to be something that's going to really cost us a lot of money? And then obviously we're going to have to sell the ROI where you come back and say, well, here's why it's worth it. But I'm sure that many of our listeners are thinking that, okay, this is a great idea, but how much is it going to set me back? So, those are my thoughts.
Well, and what I think Mark has kind of discussed some of the return on investment that he's seen. Now, sometimes I think it can be hard to measure, and so, but we always advocate for measuring things at an aggregate level. Is the business going in the right direction? In the case of launching a video or a series of videos, you should be able to see kind of a corresponding bump. But I would say intuitively that video is going to help you get your message across. And I think that my final thoughts on this is there's a real strong utility to video. And the other thing is there's different standards too. I thought I'd throw this out too. The type of video that Mark produces is a fairly high standard. Podcast, luckily for us, has a little bit lower standard. Live video, things happen, right? I mean, it's a little bit lower. There's no, then there's, your family video that goes on Facebook, totally different standard. There's Discovery Channel, a whole nother standard, right? So somebody like Mark understands these different levels of production and can do it in such a way where the production doesn't distract from the message, okay? And so, here, probably today's production distracted people quite a bit, but I think it's worth getting someone professional to help you produce video if it's not something that you're really accustomed to. I mean, I remember when I first learned how to edit and make tight edits. I actually sent my little demo off to a professional editor, and then they re-edited it and sent it back, and I was like, oh my, these are fast cuts. And so it's a never-ending learning curve, and so you got to ask yourself, do you want to go through that curve, or do you want to just get it done and get the results from it? But there's so much great info here, and I really appreciate you stopping by the virtual studio, which I don't think you had to go far.
No, super convenient.
And I knew you'd have a great microphone and camera somehow. I knew this. Yeah. But anyway, we are here every Thursday on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch for some reason. And so 11 o'clock Central every Thursday. And we really try to bring you topics that you can use. And this is an educational video at the end of the day, isn't it? But anyway, we'll see you all next Thursday. If you guys want to hang in the studio, we'll go to the end screen. And thank you so much. Good stuff.
You've been listening to the B2B Marketing Mindset with Pete Monfre and Bill Lowell. Add to the conversation by commenting, sharing, and liking. And don't forget to subscribe and check out the links in the comments. Learn more at b2bmarketingmindset.com.